All right. As we lose Wes to start the episode, yeah, we're a little bit later than usual, but it is Tuesday night. Another episode of Goal Horns and Fight Songs. Finally had all the teams playing this week, which, or at least the majority, I think all of them played this week. I don't know. I lost track. So many games going on with the non-conference, but it was fun getting to see our teams playing against the non-conference opponents. And we have Brent joining us tonight, fresh off his trip to Vegas, where the Mavericks close games, but they pulled them out.
Yeah, second game was less than ideal, but the outcome went our way, so I can't be upset.
A little bit of revenge from the NCAA tournament in that second game there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I said, anytime the Gophers lose, I'm pretty happy. In hockey, other sports, no, I don't want them to lose, but hockey, yeah, they can suck it.
Also, Denver didn't play this week.
Okay.
Oh, right, yeah.
But no, I mean, yeah, no, the icebreaker looked like it was a good tournament. You guys like playing extra hockey for some reason?
Yeah, the games were fun, but my goodness, let's hope that Orleans never hosts another hockey tournament again. It was the worst environment I think I've ever been in for a hockey game. It was just awful. Bad ice, bad environment. Like it was so empty. There was maybe 1,000 people in the arena. Like it was just top to bottom bad.
I mean, I think that's like one thing that college hockey doesn't have that college football or college basketball does. Is it doesn't have the wide-reaching community of those sports. Because even when Vegas hosted the Ice Vegas tournament and it was at T-Mobile Arena, it didn't draw like a Golden Knights game would, or I'm sure a Henderson Silver Knights like probably draws a pretty good crowd, but it's not the same as a neutral site football game. Like it just doesn't bring in the same crowd and the same numbers, which is unfortunate
No.
because I think if a lot of people gave college hockey a chance, they'd get into it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's
And
like oh, go ahead.
saying that, like there was still a really decent showing for really all the teams. UMass had a good handful. I saw a few Air Force people, and then obviously Omaha and Minnesota were well represented. So like it's not like fans didn't travel. It's just in that big of an arena. Like it's just kind of sad how it kind of shows up, especially when the players are only facing one way, and that's only a quarter of the way full. It's like it's tough to probably tough to get into it as much as it would be if it was a true home or true away series.
And I think they're with the expansion of college hockey now with Lindenwood coming in, Augustana coming in, Arizona State now a couple of years. I think they're trying to market it to more people, but like Wes, you were at the regional last year that Western played in, and it was at the Blues practice rink. Like there's just not that many people that go where um I think 2026 they're having a regional at the Target Center for the basketball tournament. I've been to one at the Metrodome. They're they're filling these with tens of thousands of people versus 1,000 to 1,500, which is kind of unfortunate. But hockey is such a niche sport, and that's one of my favorite things to do is watch people on like reactors online seeing hockey for the first time. They're like, what is this ridiculous sport that these crazy white people play?
Right. And I think
A lot of
like
fun.
along with that is obviously Vegas is it's a hockey town now, but the tournament obviously and like being in Vegas, like you're always competing with something. But the Golden Knights were in town all week. Like they were had a game Wednesday, Friday during this tournament, and Sunday. So it's like if with the teams not really being local, they're going to choose the Knights or Henderson. If they were playing, like, you're not going to get any local fans to come to this tournament unless, hey, we don't have anything going on and we just so happen to be, close to it. So it's tough, kind of getting that local scene because, like you were saying with basketball, we host it. We host part of the tournament too here in Omaha, downtown, and it's like, well, Omaha's nice because there's obviously Creighton, Nebraska, Drake. Like, there's a bunch of local teams that play around here that we're gonna get. Even if a local team isn't playing, you're gonna get those fans who are just fans of basketball to come. Whereas, hockey, it's got to be, I mean, almost anywhere but Vegas, so that you're not competing with 10 to 20 other events happening on the strip or whatever. So,
Yeah, and really the closest team was Air Force.
yeah, and even then, like I said, we weren't there. We didn't go to either of the Air Force games, but there still weren't that many fans there. So,
yeah. But I mean, the nice thing is it's early in the season. It's a nice trip for the teams. It's one of those coming together trips. It helps build, I think, a little bit more of that team aspect, getting to travel out somewhere like Vegas early in the year, playing a tournament, and for Omaha, like, I really felt they could have won that game in the NCAA tournament last year, and it was just a couple mistakes that ended up costing them that game. And so for them to get an opportunity kind of to right that, while it's not as big of a tournament, like, there was a title on the line in some respect, the icebreaker tournament. So a big win for them, and to kind of be like, yes, we could have probably competed a little bit better the last time we faced you, but we're going to show you that we're the team that we were last year and maybe have taken another step forward. So, and I mean, you can't argue with the numbers. Lacosi made 77 saves, gave up 3 goals on 80 shots. I don't think you can really be mad about those numbers. Like, the kid played outstanding.
yeah.
He sucks, even though I drafted him.
Yeah,
No, and I think it's a good measuring stick to a team like Minnesota, where they were not good the first few years under Motzko, but that was kind of to be expected, right? New coach coming in, he has his own style. He was taking over for Don Lucia. Now they're a very good team, and his recruits are coming in. So to be able to beat them, measuring stick, like, oh, we didn't get our asses completely kicked, we actually beat them. That's a nice confidence boost going in early in the season.
I mean, they were
Yeah, absolutely. Like,
weren't they 4 going into the tournament?
They were 5th.
Were they 5th coming out? I thought they were 5th coming out. I thought they were 4 last week going in. Or did they fall to 6th?
They fell to 6th after this week. But like you were saying, like that, they are scary good. Like, obviously, the competition there this weekend was basically like Minnesota, and then obviously Omaha is promising this year, and UMass, they're a big team, and certainly was like a task for Omaha. But like, watching up Minnesota play Saturday night was like watching like an NHL team play an AHL team or something like that. Like, despite the ice conditions and everything, like, they knew where every pass was. They were making no look 2-line passes for a breakaway. Like, it was insane how, like, just in tune they were. And obviously to be able to come out with the win over that kind of a team is huge. Getting the game from Simon that we got, like, obviously we knew Simon was good, but he had to be on his game, and he was, and it was awesome. It was awesome to be able to come out of that game with the win.
No one's going to turn down 2 top 20 wins. Even if UMass might have been, a little bit lower on that top 20, I mean, it's still 2 top 20 wins. And anytime you can start a season out like that, you're putting yourself you're getting off on the right foot, for sure.
Where do you want to go next, Wes?
I guess, I mean, was it a little bit surprising that Colorado College kind of struggled against a team like Northern Michigan, a team that has basically had to rebuild itself in the offseason, new coaching staff,
New team of misfits.
90%.
Basically.
I mean, 90% of a new team in total. Like they lost a bunch of people, lost a bunch of recruits, lost a bunch of guys who had experience. I mean, they get some through the portal, and they were able to still bring in some guys, but I don't know. Was it just sleeping at the wheel, or was it just, it's early in the season, and we're clearly not it's not going to be our best game early in the year, but I think it was still surprising that they kind of went to overtime night one, pulled off the win, and then kind of we saw a little bit more of what we were maybe expecting to see night two, a 6-1 win.
I think that was a little bit of overlooking a team on Friday night. That's what it seemed like to me, was seeing the score and everything. Uh, Way easier when it's a brand new team. I mean, we did the same thing with North Dakota last year when we were doing our predictions and in the standings. They had a whole brand new decor. Um, it's easy to overlook teams like that, and I think Colorado College did. And going into Saturday, that score made a lot more sense. They finally were like, "Oh yeah, let's not do that thing again that we did last night. We're much better than the way that we played." So I think it was a team overlooking someone, thinking they were like an Augustana or Lindenwood or something. Even though I think Lindenwood, they just beat somebody.
Wisconsin.
They almost
Yeah,
swept Wisconsin this week.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
they beat them Friday.
Yeah, they beat them Friday and kind of fell short on Saturday, but yeah, I think it was just first game jitters, kind of get everyone on the same page. Saturday night, obviously, we didn't get to watch many highlights or anything this weekend, but obviously seeing the score, I think it was definitely like, okay, yeah, we're a better team than the other than who we're playing. Like, let's go out there and put our best foot forward and make sure that we're all on the same page going into this weekend.
Yeah, for sure. Um, Surprise of the weekend, Miami. They have yet to lose in regulation. They are 2-0-2 to start the year, a quarter of the way to their win total from last season. A third of their way to their non-conference win total last season. They had 6 non-conference wins, 7 total. One coming into the conference to a team that will remain nameless at this moment.
Let's not get too ahead of ourselves because last season started the same way.
Yeah, no, for sure. I was just about to get there. Like I'm not gonna hang my head on that. I'll wait till we see what they do in the NCHC. They're still predicted to finish but 9th. But I mean, the new coach, I mean, he seems to at least be getting the boys in the right direction. They get a sweep over Alaska Anchorage, who's been a team that has surprised some teams early in the year, the last couple of years after having rebuilt their program from literally the ground up. They lost their hockey team and brought it back with some help from the community and got her going again and play tough games every time. So they're not easy wins by any stretch of the imagination. So it is good to see Miami get some wins, a 3-2 win on Friday and a 4-1 win on Saturday. And really, like, as much as Miami might be the de facto rival of Western because we both came from the CCHA, it's a Michigan-Ohio rivalry type thing. So I'm always going to want to beat them more than anybody else in the conference, but at the same time, like, I want them to do well because it makes the conference stronger, and to see them have non-conference success does hopefully bode well for how they perform in the conference, and we get a 1-9 that could smoke any team from any conference any weekend. You know what I mean?
I think the one thing people forget about is can't remember the other team, but there's the Kenai River uh Grizzlies or something in the NAHL, and then there's another NA team up there. And these are kids that are playing against Division 1 competition. So they're getting kids locally, and then both Fairbanks and Anchorage, they have immediate access to recruit these kids if they're not getting recruited. It's solid hockey. Like I was just talking with my brother, there's a new team about 10 minutes south of us, if that. And we want to go to games. It's not like it, it's not like playing an army or an air force. And not to disparage them, it's just they're not getting the talent because it's a commitment to serving your country. They're conditioned way better, I think, than any other team in the nation. But if you're playing at one of those schools, you're more committed to serving your country than you are to playing hockey. Where up in Alaska, we forget about them. And those kids, they're like, hey, we're going to get a scholarship to go to school. So they do surprise teams. And it's better competition than you think of. I know, was it last year or 2 years ago, Western,
Yeah,
they had a couple
we
feisty games.
we split with Anchorage 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
Cam and Kirk's first year when they were battling to see who was going to take over the starting role. Um, I think also the Alaska teams I think are going to get better here in the near future. I think a lot of teams are going to get better here in the near future if the news that we're seeing and reports are true that the college hockey is going to get an uptick in the talent pool with the ability to sign CHL players. And I mean, Alaska's right there. They're going to have a good look at a lot of the dudes from the Western Hockey League and be
Yeah.
able to talk to those dudes for quite a while. And it could make those teams better. It could make, places like Lindenwood a little bit better. The trickle down effect, we could see Division Three hockey get a lot better in the near future. Plus, with the roster size being limited to I think 25 or 28 players, something like that, that could end up seeing some more parity across all conferences. Maybe NIL becomes a bigger player in that regard at that time, but I think we're going to see college hockey parity become something that could bring the NCHC and some of the other power conferences a little bit closer to the smaller CCHA type. Um, what is it? Atlantic hockey. There could be a lot more
Yeah.
parity across college hockey with some of the future news and future limitations that are coming.
And I think that also might play a better role in expansion too. Like you'll see teams, and this is just from what I know, like Augustana, they're in the NSIC. Otherwise, they just got Division 1 hockey, but a Minot State, um, a Northern State, some other Division 2 schools now getting hockey because the talent pool is bigger. Now they're going to be able to do that and grow the game, and they can field Division 1 hockey programs because I don't think they're. It's been so long since they've had Division 2. I mean, technically there is a Division 2 conference, but they're the only ones that play it. It's either Division 1 or Division 3. But I think you might even see some of the top tier teams in Division 3 try to move up to Division 1. Adrian, St. Norbert, I think Stevens Point, Wisconsin Stevens Point is another one that's always up there for D3 hockey. Um, you might see teams moving up like that as well because they can get the support, they can get the talent. And St. Thomas, they were forced to move up. Colorado College, they're D3 for everything else except for hockey. Um, I think that'll be fun.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm all for, like I said, college hockey expanding and getting better. Maybe it opens more eyes. Maybe we can get more people to attend tournament games of all sizes. Um, we've seen kind of a shrinking of the tournament pool of college hockey. Like I've mentioned that there used to be an Ice Vegas tournament that happened a couple winners. There used to be a Shillelagh tournament held at North Dakota, or not North Dakota, Notre Dame, that I think they've since canceled, at least since joining the Big Ten. Really, the only ones that we know are yearly are the GLI here in Grand Rapids, Michigan, that'll be played this year. The Beanpot out in Boston. There's usually an icebreaker tournament somewhere that moves around every year. But I don't think there's really a lot of holiday tournaments anymore. Either they've just shown to not be profitable, or there's not as much interest in them as there once was, or whatever the story is. But it would be cool to see those come back if we get more teams or more talent, or more parity across the conferences, or whatever the case may be. But because they're
Oh
a fun
wait,
trip for everybody.
shit. Hang on. I think we just got a goalie goal.
Oh yeah.
Gustafson just scored. Yep, the Wild just scored a goalie goal.
Oh man, too bad it wasn't Marc-Andre Fleury. I wonder if
I know. I wish it was
Pat-
Flower, but
well, if it was Fleury, then maybe Pat McAfee's donation would have still been good. But I guess Gustafson got one instead.
if it was Flower, I would have just gone nuts.
Nice.
Yep, goalie goal. Let's go.
Or one
Let's
over
go.
over the Blues. Jeez, they're taking it today. Your team, Mike, seemed to have gotten off to a little bit better start. At least Friday. Kind of took one on the shins Saturday, though, eh?
Yeah, Friday. I was messaging Wes about this. They looked way more like the national championship teams than they have in the past couple of years. They were solid defensively. They were getting good offense. The young guys were showing up. Then Saturday, I was at the Wild game. Uh, didn't see anything, but by the time I had actually gotten to the game, they were already down 3-0. I was like, well, that's not good. Um, I do think goaltending is still going to be a little bit suspect. Um, the two goals that were given up Friday, uh, one was a kind of a bad rebound. It was a close shot that he popped right in front of him, and the guy made a nice play. The second goal changed the angle, but from the blue line, I think he wished he had that one back. It was like, guy's name is like Gajan or something. I don't know. I don't know our new goalies other than Sandy. And that gave me a little bit cause for concern, because if you're letting goals like that in, that doesn't bode well for this team. It's a Scott Sandlin coach team. We're not going to score a lot of goals in general. It's just the way that he plays. It's kind of like a Jacques Lemaire coach team. But defensively, I thought for the most part, they look like they should. And I think they're going to kind of an overreaction, but I think they're going to finish a little bit better than we had predicted at the beginning of the year. And now I'm distracted because they're interviewing Gustafson.
I mean, we picked him, what, 7th, 6th, 7th, somewhere in there?
I think so.
I mean, again, like, it'll be interesting to see how they hold up in conference play. You can get an idea of kind of where the team is, but this conference is just stupid with the amount of talent that's here, goaltender wise, forward wise, like just top to bottom, every roster, and how they shake out. Like this conference just beats the hell out of itself. And I mean, really, like, look how weird the conference standings were compared to the rankings and what ended up being the pairwise. Western finishes 5th, 6th in the conference and jumps 2 teams ahead of them to be in the tournament. Colorado College finishes, I think, 3rd in the conference, and they don't make it behind Western and Omaha. So yeah, I mean that conference play is interesting in the least. But North Dakota, they get one game. They play in the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame game for I think the third straight year or something. Um, can we please pick a new team to be in this damn thing? I mean, I think they played in it when it was in Nashville. I think it was considered the Hall of Fame game there. Last year they played Arizona State and lost Arizona State in Vegas for the Hall of Fame game, and this year they hosted both in location and were the actual home team. Providence, even though they're not. I mean, I guess they're sort of close, but they're not like they're not in the same state as the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame. Okay, like
No, they are not.
and we've talked about this before too. Like I think this is one of those things that it should rotate as far as who's getting involved. And personally, even if it's I would like to see it kind of have like the feel of the NFL Hall of Fame game. Like play it closer to the Hall of Fame. Yeah, you might say like there's not a great rink that can hold 13,000 people or whatever, but I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't know that 13,000 people would show up to a college hockey Hall of Fame game, even if you're holding it in the middle of the Hall of Fame. Like
there's a brand new arena, or like 2 years old or something like that. Still pissed about that it's there. But it holds about 2,000 people. And it's the new arena for the combined Evelyn and Virginia school called Rock Ridge. Now, personally, I think it should be held at the Hippodrome, which holds about 1,500 to 2,000 people. But you have a brand new arena to hold a college hockey game that is 10 minutes away from the Hall of Fame.
I mean, there's probably enough decent high school arenas in Minnesota that you could tour at around Minnesota high school ice arenas or some nonsense.
Oh, yeah. There are plenty of them here.
Like, to me, that would be cooler than just naming a random game played at a random site, the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame, and then do absolutely nothing either to promote the Hall of Fame or tie it into the event in some way or another.
And I tell you what,
and to be honest, North Dakota would probably have been a hell of a place to have tied this in to the Hockey Hall of Fame. I'm pretty sure they have a decent number of guys who have gone through that program that may or may not find themselves in that damn Hall of Fame.
well, and I think the perfect, going back to the high school thing, there's Thief River Falls, which is, I don't know, hour away from Grand Forks, something like that. Their hockey arena is called the Little Ralph. It is literally a miniature high school version of Ralph Engelstad Arena. What are we doing?
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm from where the Hockey Hall of Fame is. I've been there. I've seen it. I could see it from my house. Like I just had to walk a block and I could see it. It needs all the help it can get. Like promote this. Yeah. Get people to go there. Bring tourism. It's going to take you about half hour of your time, but get people to come there.
Do a portion of the proceeds go back to the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame. Like,
yeah,
actually make it an event that means something both to the Hall of Fame and to the casual spectator who will enjoy it more. I don't know.
They use
some kind of like, I'm sure you could do some type of like display for the teams that are playing in the game that could travel, if you're going to continue to travel it, that could travel to the event. Like, just something that ties in that it's the Hall of Fame game other than calling it the USA Hockey Hall of Fame game.
And they used to do
and I'm not just saying that because North Dakota's in it every time, but beside the point.
They used to have with it. A women's game that they would come and play, and it was like Bemidji in Wisconsin or UMD in St. Cloud or whatever. But even now, I think they should bring that back more. Like I didn't go because I did not care. I thought I would be bored out of my mind. But now that more eyes are on, it's the Caitlin Clark effect. more eyes are on women's sports than have ever been before. Bring that back. Do that. Do a men's and a women's game. Like we have Hockey Day Minnesota. Do something to tie it in with that. I don't know. Like figure something out. But I don't know. I don't want to rip on the Hall of Fame too hard just because I know people there, but there could be more done to promote everything involved with it and the games.
Yeah, make it an actual like spectacle of a weekend or something. Like again, I don't feel like we're denigrating the game at all. I think we're legitimately trying to figure, at least throw out productive ideas to entice more people, because for 97% of the college hockey universe, North Dakota is not the biggest draw in the world. In fact, most people might find either the team or their fans to be a pain and would rather
Slightly insufferable.
would rather support any team but them, and may only go to cheer against them and not necessarily for, say, Providence. I don't know. But when you get the same team in there every time, like it starts to get stale. Unless you're literally a fan of that team and you're trying to travel to every location that team goes to.
I think what would be really fun is they wait until last year would have been bad, but they wait until the mine pits in northern Minnesota freeze over, and then they play the game on there. And the risk is if you fall through, there's about a 200-foot drop down to the bottom. That would be entertaining.
They're high school kids. We're not trying to.
No, they're college kids.
We're not. Yeah, the college kids. Whatever. We're not trying to eliminate them from the population. All right, Mike. Settle down a little bit.
We just want someone else besides North Dakota to play in it.
Yeah. I mean, that was kind of like
It's a good game for hockey.
I felt honestly, I think the GLI has gotten better now that Michigan is not a constant participant. And again, as much as I may or may not like or appreciate that team slightly to the east of me who have chosen to not participate in a few games here and there, but to call it an invitational and yet you're only really inviting one team because one team hosts it from the opposite end of the state. They invited the biggest team in the state, the quote-unquote little brother team of said biggest team in the state, then threw a fit because they weren't also invited for some reason, and now they are a constant invite. So you ended up with Michigan Tech, Michigan, and Michigan State as the three yearly invitees, even though technically Michigan Tech was the only real host. Michigan talked itself into being co-host. And Michigan State's like, well, they get to go every year. Cool. You can bring your stupid green and white jersey and come every year too, I guess. And we'll just invite one team. I don't know. I appreciate or I like that it's now at least two teams that get an invite, and we'll see how long that lasts before potentially Michigan gets re-invited and then it's stupid again. But there's just a stagnation point seeing the same thing over and over and over again, I think, is really and to grow the game, you have to invite new people and new experiences for more fan bases. It can't be the same fan base getting the experience for the same thing over and over and over again.
Brent, I think you might be short on soap because you need to take our soap boxes away from us.
That's all I'm saying.
Well, speaking of tournaments, Miami was obviously chosen to go to Belfast for the Friendship Four or whatever this year. At one of our dinners, Coach Gabs did say that they've been in talks with Omaha going over probably within the next couple of years. So I'm pretty excited about that.
That'd be a fun fucking trip for sure.
That would be a lot.
Someone brought it up at one of our Blue Line Club meetings, and he was like, funny enough, we've been talking to them. And it's like, oh, okay. Thought it was a joke. It's real.
I will say I saw that news and I was like, really? We're gonna invite Miami over? Really
Yep.
throwing the best of the best out there
Yeah.
to make college hockey a world power here. Just
I mean, hey, the NFL does it with Jacksonville.
somehow, well, Jacksonville has also built
Yeah.
a very strong fan base in England because of their numerous appearances over there. In fact, that they're playing back-to-back games over there this last week and this week. Um,
Yeah.
Funny enough, though, I think the analytics say that my Vikings uh, have the largest fan base, which, I mean, apparently they just love heartbreak over there. They love watching terrible athletics.
well, their national sport is soccer, and we all know how most people feel about soccer who don't play soccer. And especially if you're a hockey fan, you really dislike that sport. So makes sense that they would choose a team that causes nothing but heartbreak to be a fan of.
Yeah.
Both the Jags and the Vikings.
Uh,
Da, da, da. I mean, we can talk about Western. You know, they went, they swept Ferris State in a home and home series. Both goaltenders played. Both played extremely
Surprise.
well. Um, I mean, Mike and I have talked with. Well, we got to talk with Cam last week, and he's seemed to be accepting of the position that he's in. You know, he's happy to have Hampton there and knows the expectations there. Um, and I think a lot of that does have to do with the fact that, you know, he's a grad student. He knows this is his final year, and he doesn't necessarily have to, you know, make a point to earn the net for the foreseeable future. You know, he's got um, his reputation with the coaching staff, his reputation with the fans. He's shown that he can play well. Um, he's, I think, 6 games away from having the most wins for Western Michigan history as a goaltender. He's top 5 in most categories as a goaltender. You know, so he doesn't really have a lot to prove, and I think he's accepting of the fact that he gets to be a mentor this year to uh, a goalie who's kind of gone through sort of a similar path to what he went through. You know, they're both U.S. development players. They both were at least intended to go somewhere else and found a home at Western. And Cam has become a fan favorite here amongst the lunatics and the greater community. And Hampton seems to be fitting in quite well as well. So I think he gets to fill out the mentor role a little bit, but still get his playing time and hopefully show that he can be useful at the next levels of hockey in the pro ranks and hopefully help get Western a little bit further in its development as well. So, but no, both goalies looked great. Hampton had a shutout bid deep into the third period before finally giving up the one goal he gave up. Um, I think Cam gave up his goal in the third period as well. No, it was the first period, I think. Let me double check. Yeah, I think it was the first. I think it was 2-1 after 1 on Friday. On really a puck that he had no chance at getting to just because Ferris made a couple of really good passes to beat him. Um, and honestly, if you're only giving up one and it's one that you don't have a shot at, I'm not going to be mad at you. Um, and I've done my fair share of trying to, you know, make the best out of a situation where maybe Cam doesn't have the best puck luck or something, you know, maybe makes a mistake or plays the puck a little bit softer than I would hope that he would. But in most situations, and as history has shown, Cam is a great goaltender, and I think Hampton can learn a lot from his ability to get back and to battle through and play in tough situations. And I hope that Cam's taken the opportunity to pass that stuff along and you know, help Hampton become a better goalie, because not sure how long he's going to be here, but we don't need, you know, this is really the first time that we've seen the transition lines in the goalie room. We've seen them in the forward lines and the defenseman situations, but this is really the first time that we've seen the clear trajectory for where our goalie room can go. So,
And I think I did see, because you and I were talking about it. I did see the goal that Cam gave up,
Yeah, it was Friday. It was the
And
first period Friday.
yeah, there were again, it was some of these goals this weekend that I was able to see were just absolutely ridiculous with the skill level. Um, and there was nothing Cam could do. You just watch it and you're like, it, you could be the world's best goalie and it doesn't matter. It, you're just there. You tip your cap and be like, yeah, better offense beats good defense. I mean, it's kind of like anything. Even bigger gun be like you have really good armor. Oh, we're just gonna make a bigger gun. We're gonna
Hmm.
beat that armor. That's pretty much what it was. Um,
I
but
will
yeah,
say
I think Western took care of business like they should have.
through two games, I do like what I'm seeing out of the defense for Western Michigan. They seem to be getting to pucks a little bit better. They seem to be hounding pucks a little bit better. Um, the big talk is always what are they going to do losing so much offense? They had 9 goals scored by 8 different goal scorers this weekend. I mean, the freshmen showed up Friday. 4 different freshmen scored their first collegiate goals. A couple coming from the Finns actually got Western on the board first. Eero Hakarainen and Joona Väisänen scored our first 2 goals. Ty Henriks picks up 1, and Zach Nearing finished the goal scoring on Friday. Um, Saturday was the experienced guys who got involved. Owen Michaels had 2. Matteo Constantini, a former transfer in from North Dakota, he picked up a goal. Cam Knuble got a goal, and this year's transfer, Hampton's brother Grant, picked up a goal. So the experienced guys showed up Saturday. The freshmen showed up Friday. So positive things all around on forwards, defense, and goaltenders. If they can keep this rolling, going into Thursday, they have one game that counts Thursday against Bowling Green, and then they have an exhibition Saturday. So a little bit of a weird schedule here at the beginning of the year for them. But if they can get on a roll here and play some tough games, they've got the opportunity to make some noise before the NCHC really kicks off, and even in the NCHC. And it looks like a group of guys who are comparable to what we've seen in the last few years, and at least hopefully maintain the positive growth we've seen from this team and this program over the last 10 or so years.
I think I didn't watch any Arizona State, Michigan, but I don't think I could anyway. So there's not much to say about that other than
They would have been on NCHC TV. I think I watched a little bit. I did not watch Friday because I was at the Western game Friday, and that
no, I think
game
they were. Well, I don't know. The website does weird things, so I don't know if they were home or away.
they were home. They were at Arizona
They were
State.
home.
They were on NCHC TV. Your internet sucked all weekend, so you probably wouldn't have been able to watch it anyway. For you, it would have been watching adult television in the '90s, trying to figure out which scramble is what.
No,
Uh,
no, there's a difference. It was NCHC TV that was struggling
I had
because
no problem watching 4 games on Saturday, sitting at the bar,
I,
and a 5th game on my phone. So I
hey,
think it was
I
a
was
you problem.
no, I was able to watch UMD. I was able to watch St.
You
Cloud.
Maybe it was just a U connection to NCHC problem. I don't know to tell you there, pal. But I did not watch the Friday game because it started early. It started at I think 5:30 Eastern. Yeah, and it was an early game because of their schedule with the football game that they had going on Saturday or whatever. Um, they lost big Friday, 4-1, not big, but 4-1 Friday. Uh, Came back and tied and won the shootout Saturday. So, as their first representation of the NCHC, I would say overall it was a positive for them being the 9th member of the conference here.
I just don't know if Michigan's the team that they've quite been in the the last couple of years. I think they've lost a lot of their top talent. I mean, they're still going to be a good team. It's not like they're a bottom feeder by any means, but I don't think they're as solid as they have been the last couple of years.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I don't think they have quite the talent that they've had in years past. Definitely not the number of number one or top picks in the NHL draft that they've had the last few years, but it is still a Michigan team. It is still a team that has figured out how to reach at least the Frozen Four the last few years. Not make the final two or the national title game, but they've gotten to the Frozen Four. I think the last maybe 3 years in a row here. So yeah, at least have to respect that. Yeah, they're a little bit lower in the rankings than they have been in years past. So we'll see how that continues to go. They'll play Western here at the end of November, home and home, hoping to get to both of those games. Since last time I was supposed to go to Yost, they decided that even with a team of 8 drafted players, that they did not feel comfortable fielding a team 2 nights in a row for some reason. Still don't understand that. Not holding a grudge, just trying to understand how that makes any sense at all, because it doesn't. But they've got another NC. They are playing a lot of NCHC teams this year. Now that I'm looking at the schedule, but this week kicks off with Thursday, a couple games. Bowling at Western Michigan, Robert Morris at Miami, both 7:05 starts on Thursday evening. Both can be found on NCHC TV. St. Cloud makes the trip to Michigan to play Michigan. Arizona State will play Providence. They make a long trip to the East Coast. It is a in-state battle between Minnesota Duluth. Augustana makes the trip down this year to play. You guys did a home and home last year, didn't you?
Yep.
To play Omaha. They will host both games this time, though. North Dakota at Minnesota State, and Denver gets back in the action hosting Northeastern, so Colorado College has the weekend off this weekend.
And I was going to say, because you brought up St. Cloud State, that was one of the series that I actually watched the most of, other than, yeah, because I watched some of it, them against Bemidji on Saturday as well. I made this bold prediction to Wes. I think Bemidji has the chance to. Now, the CCHA, not a very strong conference, but I think Bemidji wins that conference and they win at least one round of the NCAA tournament. St. Cloud, they looked rusty in that series. They had some nice offense, but so did Bemidji. They kind of went toe to toe, and Posh, I wasn't quite sure on some of his plays. So that was kind of a fascinating series to watch between Bemidji and St. Cloud, because that's the one that we didn't go over.
Oh yeah, St. Cloud did get the sweep over Bemidji in a home and home. I got to play Posh this week because Umberco's out, so my goalies will be Rowe and Posh this week.
But yeah, for this week's games, I always look forward to the UMD Minnesota games, because there's always the chant of either Gopher rejects or Bulldog rejects. Even though I think one of the teams might have a few more national titles than the other one, I just don't like that team. That'll be a good test for the Bulldogs. Kind of like you guys in that championship game out in Vegas. Just see where we're at. See how we're doing against one of the better teams in the nation.
I mean, you guys basically have the same logo now, so basically same team, right? It's really just like a intramural scrimmage.
Academic logo, you asshole.
Whole lot of maroon and gold out there. Same logo. It's really just an interstate scrimmage. No? Pretty soon you're
Yeah,
gonna be able
you
to trade
you take
players amongst each other.
you take one of them idiots and put them up in a mine, see how they do. Hand them a shotgun, probably shoot themselves in the face because they don't know what they're doing. Is this
And
thing loaded? Boom.
to be fair, you could probably take most of the players on the actual Duluth hockey team and have the same issue. You know,
They know.
it's not like they're local kids from just down the way playing college hockey there. Pretty sure most of them have spent most of their lives in a city playing hockey.
Have you looked at our roster and where they're from?
No, because honestly, I don't care enough about your team.
Yeah, they're a lot more they're a lot more outstate kids than cities.
Also, is that where they're born, or is that literally the last place they came from? Because I'm pretty sure still most of the kids who played in like the USHL are playing in cities.
No, it's where they played high school.
I forgot
Sean,
Minnesota actually does have a decent high school hockey program competition.
oh, really, really. Thanks. I didn't know that.
I wasn't telling you. I said I forgot. Listen, you need to clean out your ears.
I'm not the one who wanted to cancel because we were all running late.
It was like a half hour late. We are now a half hour past my bedtime. We're not. My bedtime still got a while. I'm gonna finish this game of football that I started. But what else can we talk about? What else do we want to talk
I
about?
will say the last person we really interacted with after the game on Saturday, it was so weird. I didn't see him all weekend, but he was at a slot playing in a slot, and he was wearing a Western Michigan jersey.
There we go.
And I totally forgot I was gonna like get a picture with them and everything because this was after we made plans that I was gonna be on.
Mhm.
But I just walked by, I said, "Go Broncos," and he kind of was like, "Yeah, go Broncos," and that was it. I was like, "Dang, I should have at least taken a picture or something," but
Nice.
that was it.
Yeah, there's a few local people out there that have ties to the university. So
Yeah.
Well, I'm
We
glad
of
I'm not
course
the only awkward one in this group.
I definitely ran into a few out there for, the Vegas trip I took years ago now, but
yeah.
Yeah, I pretty much knew everybody who was from the Kalamazoo area that was there, and then there were still a few other people who were like, "You guys made the trip all the way out here?" And we're like, "Yeah, because why wouldn't you?"
Yeah.
Also, I will tell you, it was extremely fun walking around Vegas with face paint on, which, kind of blended in, but also not so much.
I was gonna say, were like people tipping you to take pictures or anything? Because
I honestly tried to like stay in just like communal areas because I didn't need any issues with security or anything. I'm like, how do I get from point A to point B without stepping on any casino floor? Because
Yeah.
I don't need anybody coming up to me going, "What the hell are you doing?" And I was not the most outrageous looking person there. So
I mean, if they ask you what you're doing, I'm here for the Juggalo convention.
why? No, let's not relate those two things. They're on the FBI watch list for gang activity. You silly.
You might as well be.
No, 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 no.
Um, I'm trying to think. There was maybe something that I had, but uh, as Wes and I've talked about, we want to get. I know we end up being a little bit Western heavy on this podcast as far as guests go because um, someone decides that they want to paint their face and has become somewhat of a celebrity, which it was hilarious in our interview with Cam. Um, it almost sounded like he thought you were a parody account or something, and then didn't realize it was actually your personal Twitter account.
That is how it kind of came off.
Um, but we have a couple things in the works, I think, and I'm gonna try and reach out to some Bulldogs if they have personal messages open on Twitter. Um, we have somebody from St. Cloud who potentially will join us again. Not a player, but someone who we've had before. Um, had the conversation on Saturday, so we'll see. Just different things in the works, trying to bring this up. Oh, and what, you're up 3-2 on our fantasy hockey right now?
Yep.
Might
We
as
got a
well
one
that
game
update.
lead. We got, I don't know if we want to figure the goalie situation is really the one thing that, because, most leagues, I guess we're just going to randomly talk about this on the pod because why not? Because this is really a test to see next year if we want to expand it. And I think we'll go to 6 teams next year. So we got to find 2 more because I'm assuming Brent's going to want in on this. And then Paul, our Arizona State friend, who I also invited, but is still trying to catch up on sleep from his trip back from Arizona to the East Coast. He had some flight issues that he was dealing with. But I mean, it's kind of hard when, especially like the situation that Western's going through, and that Omaha had the last couple of years, where your number one's not necessarily playing every game, and it's kind of a benefit and a hindrance in the fantasy world if we're just going each day as a game and we're running 2 goalies in only one plays, because certain numbers are certainly going to be better than others. You may not win the win category every week with only 1 win, but you certainly could. But when you're counting 2 guys save percentages or 2 guys save counts versus 1, unless they again have a performance like Simon had on Friday, he might have single-handedly won, well, he definitely single-handedly won you Friday.
Yeah. Hey, he was my number one.
Number
Well,
1 pick.
I guess technically number 2 pick.
He was
But
your number 1 pick. He was second
no,
overall.
no, I took Zeev number 1.
Ah, that's right. You're right. Wait, do I still have that here somewhere?
Which
Yeah.
one of the Western players, Tristan Lemaire, terrible salesman. Terrible salesman. He couldn't convince Zeev to turn pro, even though he spent the last part of the summer with them. I'm like, no, we want him here. We want him playing for the Wild. I don't want to face him
I think
in Denver.
it really could have benefited everybody if he had done it. It could have
Yeah,
benefited
it
Tristan's
really
new
would have.
team of Western. It could have benefited Minnesota Duluth because they don't have to play him. It could have benefited the Wild. Hell, it even could have benefited Zeev because he would be making money and playing college or pro hockey with his brother, who's in the Red Wings organization. And then we could have just been done with both of them and the pronunciation of their last name.
I really,
which is an added benefit to everybody who talks about the NCHC.
I really hope Tristan is not going into the sales world because, yeah.
I mean, most hockey players do. Yeah, he was 4th overall. Or 3rd. No, I had first pick because I took Alex Bump first overall.
Yeah.
So you took him 4th overall. And then I took Caden 5th overall. Yep. And then we laid off goalies until the very end.
I have Davis and whatever the hell the guy's name is from North Dakota. Stefan Bowser, Hausen, Schuster.
TJ.
Septenfelter.
Schmitty-Wergen, Lieberman Jensen, or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. The guy from SpongeBob.
Yeah. He was number 1.
You guys sound like the coach from Rookie of the Year.
The pitching coach that locks himself in the locker.
No, the actual manager of the team who can't say Rowan Garvey.
Oh yeah, Rogan Schuster.
Fun fact about that movie. So Daniel Stern is actually the director, and every time he locked himself in something, it was so that he could direct the rest of the movie. And because he wasn't really supposed to be in the movie, and they're like, "Hey, we also want you in the movie."
Oh wait, he was the pitching coach.
Yeah, Daniel Stern is the pitching coach, and he's also the director of the movie. So when you see him like lock himself like in the adjoining doors, it's so that his character has somewhere to be while he is off directing the rest of the movie or in the cage at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
I think my favorite scene, just random, because now we're getting off on a tangent, but is when they're on the plane and he's talking to Henry and he's like,
Some guys like to heat up their shoulders. Other guys like to ice their shoulders. I found the best of both worlds. Hot ice.
"On ice."
I heat up the ice cubes. It's the best part of that fucking movie. It's so good.
I know. It might be the best scene in the whole movie.
Excited that he melts ice cubes before putting them on his body. You're like sitting there like, I wonder if this is how icy hot got like fucking created. Like some guys just sitting there like, how do you have hot ice? You don't. You have hot water at that point. Yeah, that is such a good part. You eat half of your bagel now. Then you see this hair stick bag, you put the other half in there. Saving money on the road.
Or when he locks himself in the locker, he's just like, uh-oh. And then he's, yeah, go team. He's like cheering on it from inside.
Oh, he's in the batting cage and smacks himself in the head with the ball like 4 times. It's such a good movie. It holds up surprisingly well, too.
I could see that. It's just one of those movies where the humor will not get old. It's clean humor. It's funny. It won't get old.
I mean, I guess like we're past the point where a lot of people get the Wizard of Oz reference when they go to to Wrigley. But I mean, if you've seen the Wizard of Oz, then you see that movie, you could probably get the reference. But
yeah,
that's not as readily on the tip of people's minds anymore. But I mean, I don't know why, if it was really then either in the 90s, because that movie was still like 60 years old at that point. Let's see.
Anything else hockey related other than the fact that I'm still always going to be freaked out by Trevor staring at me every week?
I'm glad he's there. He really has my back. As terrible pun of the show. I think
you always got to get one in.
I'm gonna find a way to get one in like every show from here on out. I think
you don't even have to try. You just do it.
They're there. Just and then it's like quick with it. Let's see. Is there any? No, we went over all the games. Oh wait, nope. Denver plays. Did we say what?
Yeah, you said Denver plays. I forgot what you said, but you mentioned that.
Northeastern.
Oh no, I got confused because I saw that Augustana's playing St. Cloud, and I thought I was on that week, but that they're playing. I got my calendar moved. I got confused with myself.
Proud of you.
Yeah, no, I mean the Friday games are the same as the Saturday games, with the exception that Western hosts York University. Where the fuck are you from? Will host the York Lions in an exhibition game.
Yeah, and I think you said it, but I halfway pay attention when you talk. But ours should be a home and home. So I don't know which night is which, but one at Amsoil and one at Mariucci.
Saturday is your home game. Nope, you host both. According to the NCHC composite schedule, yes.
Huh. I wonder when they change that, because the last few years we've done a home and home, which, kind of makes sense. It's only 2.5 hours between schools.
Yep, you host both.
Well, then I won't be going, because I immediately thought, hey, might as well go watch Bulldogs, especially if it was the Friday game. Just figure out something to do after work and drive over to Mariucci and watch a hockey game.
You guys you should be making the return trip this year. Aren't we supposed to have multiple series against each other this year, Brent? Yeah, we do. February, you guys come up here.
Yeah, February.
Valentine's Day. I was going to try and make the trip in November, but then my actual job, they let a bunch of people go, and then a bunch of people had time off, so that didn't work. But I was going to drive down because it was not much further than it was to go to St. Cloud to drive down to Omaha. And yeah, that's not going to happen. So
I think Omaha would be a better choice, just even not having been to the Omaha rink. Uh, yeah. Yeah, well, Wes, you know how terrible St. Cloud is.
well, I mean, I've already been there. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
go back
exactly.
this quickly. I might go if they fix those fucking seats. I might go back to see the renovations because God, those seats are terrible.
Now they need more than the seats.
They
Well,
do,
well,
but I'm just saying if they at least fix the seats, it would make that place significantly better and worth the second trip. Also, hey Dan, thanks for your comment. Good luck Broncos and Mavs this year. So he's someone that Brent brings in whenever Brett comes. He brings the whole OMAVs family around.
oh, thanks, Dan.
We see quite a bit different Dan. This is Daniel, not Bronco Dan. It's a different one.
I know. I don't care though. He said go Mavs and Broncos, and like, well, fuck the Bulldogs, I guess.
Well, yeah. Exactly that. Because
yeah.
but I still need to get to Duluth at some point, and then both of you need to make the trip over this way.
Maybe make it easier to get to, and I'll get to Western.
I mean, it's not that hard to get here.
Technically, I did make it there, just not to the arena because we decided to go to Nashville.
But if you want to experience the atmosphere that is Lawson Ice Arena, you got to come in the next few years. I believe the new arena potentially may have gotten pushed back a little bit, but the expectation is that later this decade for sure. I think the early estimates may have been 2027. It's looking more like 2028, 2029. But again, if you really want to experience Bronco hockey in all of its glory, I would suggest getting here before then and experiencing it at Lawson. I'm sure the new arena will have its own vibes and hopefully the students will make the trek over. But Lawson is something to experience before it is gone, for sure. Also, I might have a little more sway in some particular places, and if you need a beverage and some food, I may know where to go. And there may be news coming along those lines later here in the future once we get some details figured out. So it'll become obvious when it happens. Let's if and when it happens, there will be signs that some things have gone down. All right. I may not straight tell you when I win the lottery, but there will be some signs.
There will be signs.
This is all I'm saying. Oh, York University is from Toronto, Canada. Welcoming our neighbors from the north once again to play them in the old hockey. So that answers that question. I think that's it.
Yep, I think that's it.
We went a little bit over an hour like we usually do. A little bit later than we usually do, but it worked out. Everyone had a great time, I think.
No, it sucked. I had the worst time
ever. So if
Ahsoka's asleep, just upset. She's like, "Why are we not snuggling in bed already?"
Yeah. Although he may not be a regular every week contributor, I do feel as though Brent is 1/3 of the team that is this podcast, and if he ends up ever wanting to come back and bring a guest along with him from his team, he is more than welcome to do so, and really welcome here anytime that he wants to come talk NCHC hockey with us. And I think he knows that by now. He's like, "Hey, can I come on?" I would be like, "Yes, you absolutely may. I will send you the invite when I send them to everybody."
All the Omaha news.
Yeah. So, I feel like we've got a good balance so far. I mean, we've had one Colorado College folk who would be fun to get back on. I believe Broadmoor Beauties is his Twitter handle. It would be fun to talk with him again. We've had a representative from St. Cloud, representative of Arizona State. A pseudo representative of Denver by way of Western in Tristan, because we asked him a bunch of Denver questions. So, to be fair,
we have had
he did win a
Bruce.
national title with them. So I guess we kind of, why wouldn't
we had Bruce for UMD, not counting myself.
Yeah, we had a secondary UMD dude. Lots of Western people, because that is my team and that's who I'm most comfortable reaching out to. So that kind of makes sense.
And you're also the most famous out of any of us.
That is, we are defining the term famous very loosely.
Yeah.
I would say maybe easiest recognizable at hockey games. Maybe the better way of phrasing that, most recognizable in the easiest way at hockey games. Outside of that, maybe not so much. I kind of blend in with all the regular, bald-headed white dudes with facial hair, which is a lot of them. Yeah. All right. Can we please, for the love of God, no more Western goodbyes this crap? There's YouTube stuff. It's down there. Do it. No more Midwest goodbyes. Bye.